These women by zodiac sign get married the most times. There are women whom fate does not let go without love. They attract feelings like a magnet, and every time it seems that this is the last choice, life opens up a new plot. Their charisma is stronger than fear. Their heart is like an eternal flame that does not fade even after disappointments. These women do not seek love. Love seeks them. They are born to experience passion, to choose again, to take risks, to lose, and to start all over again. Each of their marriages is not a coincidence, but part of a grand scenario in which the universe tests how deeply they are capable of feeling. And it is among them that there are those who marry most often, not because of weakness, but because of an excess of vitality, emotions, and faith in love. Stay with me, click subscribe, and you will find out which zodiac signs fate has chosen for the endless game of hearts. The first sign is Virgo. Virgos always impress with their incredible organization and precision, but it is this trait that becomes a magnet for a life that constantly changes the form of commitments. In her world, every acquaintance turns into a strict assessment and careful consideration, where emotions are subject to logic and decisions about living together are made with cold objectivity. This approach never allows her to remain in unfavorable conditions, which explains why her marriages are often short-lived. Every Virgo who embarks on the path of married life brings with her not only order, but also high standards for her partner, which makes her circumstances unique. Balance is important in her relationships. Intellectual compatibility, financial stability, and respect for the inner world of each participant. If at least one of these components is violated, Virgo resolutely moves on, leaving behind a trail of experience and lessons learned. She is not afraid of change because each breakup opens up new space for self-development and improvement. Each new acquaintance becomes an opportunity to create a more balanced and harmonious union. And it is through this constant work on themselves that Virgos often embark on the path of wedding vows again and again, not repeating the mistakes of the past, but maintaining their inner demands. Virgos do not chase romance or fleeting feelings. They seek a stable structure that allows both partners to develop simultaneously. Their choices are always conscious, and even if it means starting over several times, they see it as a necessary process to achieve the ideal union. Her character combines strictness and softness, intelligence and sensuality, which creates a real dynamic in relationships, where there is not always room for compromise, but always room for growth. She feels the fine line between duty and sincere affection, and only adherence to these principles allows her to move forward. In her life, marriage is not a coincidence, but a logical result of her inner development, which makes each new union unique and meaningful. Even if it seems from the outside that Virgo is constantly changing partners, in reality, each marriage is a step towards realizing her own needs and setting boundaries that ensure a fulfilling life in the future. When she enters into a new union, it is no longer a mere repetition of the past, but the formation of a new, deeper understanding of herself and the world, where love and responsibility go hand in hand. Her path is an endless process of improvement, where each marriage becomes a reflection of her growth and ability to build a happy and harmonious life. The second sign is Aquarius. Aquarius is always distinguished by its unpredictability and desire for freedom, which creates a special dynamic in relationships. Its life is not subject to standards, and it rarely follows traditional scenarios, even when it comes to marriage. Aquarius chooses partners not according to social norms or the expectations of those around them, but according to their own inner sense of synergy, intellectual compatibility, and energetic resonance. In his world, relationships are a constant game of contrasts: freedom and attachment, individuality and partnership, open-mindedness and deep feelings. He is not afraid of breakups and endings, because for him they are not a defeat, but a necessary stage in the search for maximum harmony and conformity with his own principles. Aquarius strives for partnerships where everyone remains themselves, and any restriction or pressure becomes a signal to leave. Because of this, his life path is often marked by a series of marriages, each of which becomes a new opportunity to test the limits of his own freedom and the depth of his connection. They are capable of forming alliances that seem strange or atypical to those around them, but it is precisely in this non-standardity that the unique energy of relationships is born. Their choice is always conscious and subject to internal logic. Even if the breakup is painful or unexpected, they know that it is a necessary step towards a true, harmonious union. Each Aquarius marriage is an experiment, but at the same time, a learning experience, where he discovers new facets of his personality, explores the depths of human relationships, and defines the limits of his own needs. In this process, he does not repeat the past, but transforms it, creating new scenarios where partnership and independence coexist. Aquarius experiences life at its peak intensity. His unions are always in motion, constantly searching for new horizons and mutual enrichment. And even if several marriages do not turn out to be long-lasting, this is not a sign of failure, but confirmation that he adheres to his own principles and does not compromise with himself. They are not afraid to start over, because each new union brings them new knowledge, experience, and the opportunity to feel the fullness of life. Aquarius knows how to combine unwavering devotion and flexibility, intellect and emotions, which makes their relationships incredibly rich and dynamic. His path through marital unions is a constant search and discovery, where freedom and depth of feelings find their balance, and each new step creates the basis for a more mature, harmonious, and conscious partnership. He lives by the rule that a true union should enrich, develop, and inspire, and therefore each marriage becomes not just an event, but a lesson that shapes his life wisdom and ability for true intimacy. The third sign is Sagittarius. Sagittarius is always distinguished by their irrepressible energy and thirst for adventure, which creates a unique rhythm in their personal life. Their attitude toward marriage is not limited to traditional ideas of stability and permanence. For Sagittarius, every union is an opportunity to test their own limits, broaden their horizons, and discover new facets of relationships. They are not satisfied with the mundane and seek partnerships that provide space for development, discovery of the world, and mutual enrichment. His life is often marked by unions that those around him may perceive as unstable or unexpected, but for him it is a natural process. Each marriage is an experience that reveals new aspects of his personality, tests the depth of his feelings and his ability to compromise. Sagittarius resolutely avoids restrictions and control, and any attempt to impose boundaries on him is perceived as a signal to end the relationship. His decision to marry is always conscious, but at the same time, free from stereotypes and the expectations of those around him. The number of his marriages is not a coincidence, but a reflection of his philosophy of life. He learns from his own experience, seeks a harmonious balance between independence and partnership, and each new union becomes a stage of self-discovery and development. Sagittarius is capable of building relationships based on sincerity, trust, and openness. And if at least one of these elements is violated, he chooses to move forward rather than compromise his own freedom. Their life is constantly dynamic, emotions, decisions, new acquaintances, discoveries. All of this shapes their unique trajectory through marital unions. Sagittarius is not afraid to start from scratch, because every breakup brings lessons and opportunities for growth. He knows how to combine excitement and responsibility, a desire for new experiences, and the ability to build deep connections, which makes his relationships rich and unique. Each of Sagittarius's marriages is an experiment in his own life, a test of the compatibility of minds and hearts. And even if he divorces several times, he always emerges from the situation with a new level of understanding of himself and others. For him, the main thing is not the number of marriages, but their quality and ability to open the way to his own development and happiness. Each union becomes part of his life path, where freedom, sincerity, and openness form the basis for future relationships, and the experience of past marriages allows him to understand his own needs and desires more deeply. Sagittarius builds his life as a journey, where every encounter and every marriage is a point on the map that leads to a fuller understanding of himself, to harmony and true joy from intimacy with a partner. His path through marriages is a constant search, discovery, and balancing act between independence and the ability to love, which makes his life experience rich, deep, and unique. The fourth sign is Capricorn. She is not one to believe in chance. Capricorn views marriage as a process with clear stages, a plan, and goals. For her, a union is not a fairy tale adventure, but an agreement that must have everything: stability, shared ambitions, comfort, and a sense of control. And that is why she marries several times. Because every time the balance is disturbed, she does not hesitate. She closes the door on the past and moves forward. Her heart is not broken, it is simply rebooted. Her first marriage is usually based on understanding. She chooses a person who seems reliable, capable of supporting her desire for order. But later she realizes that stability without warmth is a trap. She wants to be with not just a partner, but someone who sees her as a living soul, not just a successful woman. And then her second chapter begins, a different one, more emotional, more human. Her second marriage is an attempt to make up for everything that was missing in the first: passion, mutual understanding, fire. But it is in this marriage that Capricorn faces another challenge: an excess of emotions that destroy her inner order. And then she does what she always does. She takes the situation into her own hands. She is unable to put up with chaos, even if that chaos is love. Her third marriage, if it happens, is completely different. It is not an escape from loneliness or a search for adrenaline. It is her choice with both her heart and her mind. She already knows who she is and what she wants. She does not seek to prove her strength to anyone, does not try to be the perfect wife. She just lives. In this union, for the first time, she allows herself to be not a solid rock, but a person with feelings. Capricorn is not afraid of divorce. For her, it is not a defeat, but a cleansing. She is convinced that every union is necessary to give experience, to teach how to love better, deeper, and more honestly. She can leave everything she has built over the years if she feels that her soul is being despised. And that is why she remarries, not on a whim, but out of a desire to find the harmony that the world so often takes away. Her story is a series of new beginnings. She is not afraid to restart her life, even if it means changing her surname, home, or country. She knows how to build from ruins and does so with cold composure. Each of her husbands remembers her as a woman who is difficult to forget, regardless of who broke up the union. She leaves an impression of strength, confidence, and unbreakable dignity. For her, marriage is not a status or an ornament, but part of her development. She is not looking for a prince. She needs a partner with whom she can conquer the peaks. And when she does not find one, she moves on. She is not one to suffer for the sake of appearances. On the contrary, she is capable of bold steps, even if society does not understand her decisions. Capricorn is a woman for whom love is a discipline, does not dissolve in feelings, but shapes them. In each marriage, she leaves a piece of her strength, her experience, her logic. And that is why each subsequent union is better, deeper, more mature. She does not chase an ideal. She simply follows her own path, trying to find a balance between her heart and her mind. And even if her life consists of several marriages, she never considers it a failure. Because each of her choices is conscious, each breakup is mature, and each new union is an opportunity to live better. In her heart lives the conviction that true love has no expiration date, but has the right to be renewed. That is why Capricorn is capable of marrying more than once, not because she is looking for someone perfect, but because each time she becomes closer to herself. The fifth sign is Pisces. She is born to love, not with her mind, but with her heart. Pisces give themselves completely to their feelings, without calculation, without restrictions. That is why their lives are often filled with marriages that begin like a fairy tale and end like a drama. But for her, this is not a tragedy. It is a path through which she searches for herself. Pisces' first marriage is like a dream. She falls in love with feelings, words, touches, moments. Her partner seems to be the center of the universe, and she is ready to give everything to keep this feeling alive. But when the illusion dissipates, she wakes up and realizes that she has been living in a world she created herself. Her ability to idealize is both a blessing and a curse. She does not see flaws until it is too late. And when her heart is broken, she does not seek revenge. She simply leaves, leaving behind a tenderness that no one else can replicate. Her second marriage comes to her as an attempt to learn to be more cautious. She is no longer so naive, but she still believes in love. This time, she seeks not only romance, but also peace. However, fate throws her a challenge. Again, too deep emotions. Again, too much devotion. And again, she dissolves into another, forgetting about herself. Her heart is capable of endless forgiveness, but sooner or later the realization comes. Love without respect is a prison where dreams die. The third marriage, if it happens, is already a union of mature souls. Pisces no longer go with the flow. They know that true love is not only emotions, but also choice, responsibility, and reciprocity. And then they build a union in which they do not lose themselves, but flourish. With such a partner, Pisces become calm, confident, and harmonious. They are no longer afraid of loneliness because they know that love begins with self-respect. Pisces are women who are capable of enduring dozens of disappointments and still remaining gentle. Their strength lies in the fact that they do not become hardened. Each marriage leaves not a scar on their soul, but a pattern, an experience that makes them deeper. They are not afraid to start over because they believe that every encounter has meaning. Their romanticism is not a weakness, but an extraordinary ability to feel. They know how to love in a way that others cannot even dream of. And that is why there are always those around them who want to touch this warmth. But only a few are able to withstand its depth. And until the world learns to cherish such women, Pisces will marry again, each time hoping that this time they will be understood. She can leave a marriage without arguments, without loud scenes. Just disappear, like water flowing through your fingers. Her silence after the breakup is louder than any words. And that is why those who have lost her remember her for years, not because it was perfect, but because it was real. Her capacity for love knows no bounds, can forgive even betrayal if she senses sincerity in the repentance. But when her faith is completely destroyed, the door closes forever. After that, she does not look for new beginnings for a long time, but when she meets someone again, it is always a real miracle. Pisces women are not made for short stories. They live with their hearts, and that is why their destiny is several marriages, several lives, several versions of themselves. They change with love without losing their ability to feel. And everyone who has been close to them leaves a piece of themselves behind, but no one takes their soul completely. For Pisces, marriage is not a formality, but a spiritual journey. They do not count how many times they have loved, because each time it was real. And perhaps that is why fate gives them so many chances, so that they have time to experience the whole spectrum of what is called life.